An Otago University doctor is currently working on groundbreaking research which could prevent breast cancer. She's hoping to develop a vaccine which women would take as a preventative measure. To tell us more, Dr. Vanessa Lau is in studio now with our reporter Pierre Nixon.
Kia ora, Vanessa, and thank you very much for joining us live in the studio today. Now, your work is extremely groundbreaking. Could you just touch on it for us?
Yeah, sure. The work we're currently doing is to develop a preventative measure for breast cancer. Currently, the most effective prevention option women who are high risk for breast cancer have is a double mastectomy, which is very invasive, and it's not really an option for individuals who want to have a family and are quite young. And so we want to develop a option for them that involves an injection, essentially. They can have an injection, lowers their risk of breast cancer back down to the general population, and they can have families and not worry about having that invasive surgery. And we're targeting individuals who carry high-risk variants in breast cancer susceptibility genes, because these women have a significantly higher risk of developing breast cancer than the general population. And so we are hoping to give these women an alternative option to the mastectomy to lower their risk.
That's really nice. Now, you touched on it before, but what kind of is the main goal here?
The main goal is to give women an option that is not surgery to lower their risk of breast cancer. It's very invasive and it can have side effects, and it isn't an option for all individuals.
Why are you so passionate about this issue here in New Zealand?
Breast cancer affects a huge number of individuals. It affects 1 in 9 women. 1 in 9 women will develop breast cancer at some stage during their lifetime, and to give these women an option to lower their risk without having a double mastectomy would be extraordinary.
Now, is the research funded by the government or is it privately sourced?
The research is funded by a partnership grant, which is the Health Research Council, which is the government, Breast Cancer Cure and the Breast Cancer Foundation. So it's come from 3 different sources. 2 of those are charities.
Awesome. And how is the preventative injection supposed to work?
So how it works is you can kind of think about your gene as a book. Okay, so each chapter is a different section of the gene, and you have a high-risk variant which is in one of those chapters. Now, what happens when you have a high-risk variant is every part of the book after that, where that chapter is, where it contains the variant, is essentially erased, and so the information that remains goes on to create the protein, but you're missing a huge chunk of that protein. And the 2 main breast cancer susceptibility genes, the proteins work to repair your DNA. So if you're missing half of it, they're not going to function as they should, which is where the increased risk of breast cancer comes from. What we're trying to do with this injection is to target the chapter that contains the high-risk variant and remove it, keeping the rest of the book intact, creating a protein that is functional and repairs your DNA as normal.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time here today. We've learned a lot. Kia ora.
No problem.